Hi, this is Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson.
What's up, everybody? I'm Matt Leinart, 2004 Heisman Trophy winner.
Hey, I'm Zane Gonzalez.
Hi, I'm Matt Barry from ESPN. You're getting ready to watch one of the best college football podcasts ever. It's the Harris Highlight Show.
You're watching the Harris Highlight Show.
And you're watching the Harris Highlight Show.
And you listen to the Harris Highlight Show. Enjoy it.
Na 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 na.
Coming to you live from beautiful Monrovia, California. This is the Harris Highlights Show. Joining me this week is our college football analyst, Josh Schaefer, our college football expert, Lyle Goldstein, our executive producer, Brady Klein, and I'm your host for the evening, Blake Harris. Gentlemen, new week. Tomorrow is July 1st, Bobby Bonilla Day. So how's everyone doing this fine week?
Today is a good day. As you guys know, I typically like to wear some conference apparel for our conference realignment shows. I remembered that I had a Maryland sweatshirt, but it's 90 degrees in LA, so no thanks. So I decided to wear a Manchester United jersey because, you know, in England, people are smart and they're playing sports again, and they played today. And also, it connects to the show, of course, as it always does. Brady went to the big house in Ann Arbor to see a Liverpool game, and I hate Liverpool. So
They played against Manchester United, Josh.
Yeah, I forgot I had a Maryland hat hanging right here.
I can run upstairs and I can go get my Liverpool scarf and hat if you want.
Hey, what's really cool is you don't have to.
Oh, I can, though. It's not that hard.
No, that's okay.
No, that's fine.
Got the Rashford kit on. Let's go, boys.
Didn't he have a hat trick last week?
No, Martial.
Martial did. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Still banging him in.
Lyle, this is real football we're talking about, Lyle.
Oh, tell me about it. I appreciate Blake saying tomorrow's Bobby Bonilla Day. That's something I didn't know. But now you learn something new every day.
It's also 4th of July week. I got my American flag cup. Look at that.
Lyle, it's been July 1st every year for our entire existence, pretty much.
No, I just didn't know like it had like a date of relevance or anything like that. Tomorrow. So tomorrow's when he's like gets paid for the next, for another year or the next 50 years or whatever it is.
Yeah. So in honor of baseball, I'm rocking my Dodgers jersey that I got for $20 at Universal Studios because they had to get rid of all the Majestic gear. Yeah, no. For those that don't follow baseball, essentially this guy played for the Mets 20 years ago, and he finessed them. Where essentially he gets paid like $1.2 million every July 1st. For like 30, 40 years. I don't know when it officially ends. But today, guys, in relation to that is also the end of the daily Darren Williams Day, because apparently the Brooklyn Nets have been paying Darren Williams $15,000 a day every day for the last 4 years to not play for them. So Bobby Bonilla Day, but we also have Darren Williams Day that officially came to an end today. So he's no longer getting $15,000 a day. And for those of you that don't know, we're doing a Big Ten realignment show today as Brady is rocking his Indiana gear. Josh was wearing, I think he had a Maryland hat on. That's who knows. So they're rocking their soccer gear. Not entirely sure what's going on there because we don't follow soccer here in America. A lot of fun things planned for the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. In addition to doing our complete Big Ten realignment, we also have an assistant coach from an FCS program that's going to be joining us later in the show after the realignment. That's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of just quick things that we have to get to beforehand. So, Brady, I sent you a bunch of stuff that we're going to be sharing on the show tonight. And the first thing I want to do is share the video that was sent to our Twitter account from one of our fans. This comes from Albert Gamboa. Hopefully I didn't completely mess that name up.
I think Blake finally got a name right.
All right.
I finally get a name right. So Albert, he sent us this video. Brady, you can just play it right now. There's no sound on it, so we can just kind of do a voiceover. He pretty much sent us this video on our Twitter account of his man cave. He's obviously a Utah Utes fan. Apologies for the laggy connection for whatever reason on Zoom. It just has a lagged video, but you guys can still get the picture.
It shows up fine when you look at the YouTube stream. I think that's just on our end. Go.
So it shows up fine. So this is Albert's Utah man cave, which is ultimate goals. I mean, this guy has everything. He's got a customized Utah Utes pool table. But I think our favorite part, and Brady, you can attest to this, is his customized Utah field that he has right here in front of all the couches that him and his wife hand painted. And it took a while. I think they have to like repaint it every few months or so.
They paint it twice a year. Yeah.
So this is Albert's man cave. He's got a nice view of the stadium right there. I don't know what music.
That's not the Utah theme song.
No, this is my favorite part here is the custom the custom ceiling decal that lit up. That's pretty cool. It looks like the top of a locker room.
So, I mean, overall, this is a fantastic man cave. So, I just wanted to give a shout out to Albert for sending us this incredible man cave. If you have a man cave of any kind, or if you have any kind of cool sports memorabilia, send it to any one of us on Twitter, or send it to the Harris Highlight Show Twitter at the HH Show _. That way we can post it on future shows, because I feel like a lot of people out there have something really cool in their house, whether again, it's a man cave like this, whether it's a cool setup, kind of like how I have my bobblehead collection. If you have anything college football oriented, that's something like this, let us know, send it to us. That way we can show it on future shows, because this is an absolutely awesome man cave. It's a shame that it's a Utah man cave, but hey, props to him. I mean, this locker right here, it's like a custom locker from the stadium. So overall, I thought that was absolutely fantastic. So Albert,
you also got the college game day sign and stuff right there too.
Right. So well done, Albert. That's a fantastic man cave. Brady, on to the next bit that we got. So we kind of announced this a few weeks back. I think it was on Twitter. Maybe it was on one of our shows, but we officially, I mean, we've had Harris Highlights merchandise for a few years now, but we have Harris Highlights 2020 merch. And one of our biggest fans, Michael, he actually ordered a shirt a few weeks ago when we announced that this was going to be launched. I haven't even gotten my shirt yet. So he's the first one and currently the only person in the country, in the world, that owns the shirt. So Brady, if you can load up the shirt that Michael got. And now if you fans are interested in owning your own Harris Highlights 2020 merch, here it is right here. We have a bunch. I mean, at Redbubble, you can get shirts, mugs, I think bumper stickers. You can get, I think, masks to wear around. So if you have any interest in buying any Harris Highlights 2020 merch, the link is in the description of this video. Go purchase something, and whenever you get it, send it my way, and we'll make sure we get it on the show so that way you can rock it. So Michael, big props to you for being the first, and like I said, the only person currently that has any Harris Highlights 2020 merch. It comes in all different kinds of colors. So again, if you have any interest in getting the merch, the link is in the description below. And maybe somewhere down the line, we'll have a contest where you could potentially win some free merchandise. So I've mentioned this before. Make sure to go follow us on Twitter at the HH Show _. We are close to hitting 1,000 followers, guys. I think we're at about 930 right now. So if you're watching this or if you're listening right now, go over there, give us a follow. We want to get 1,000 followers by next week. If we hit that, maybe we'll do a giveaway. Maybe we'll do something exciting for you guys. So make sure you go follow us. The next 5 people that follow the show right now are actually going to get a shout out from yours truly. So go over there, make sure to give us a follow. And speaking of, watching and listening to the show, we are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts. So if you can't make the show when we're live, that's okay. You guys can listen in the car, listen at the gym. I was at the gym about an hour ago, guys. I thought, what's going to get me more pumped right now for this show? And also as I'm lifting like 200 pounds above my head, been listening to last week's show, and guys, it sounded fantastic. The quality was amazing. So again, the Harris Highlight Show is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Those links are in the description below, or you can just go over there, search for those, and you guys are gonna find it. And
for those of you that don't know, Blake's big into fitness. Fitness hold donut in his mouth for sure.
Huge fitness guy. I've taught Lyle everything I know. Lyle, whenever he needs some pointers on how to lift properly, he comes to me. So I'm here to help out Lyle. But Brady, before we get to the Big Ten realignment, I think it's time to announce the winner of the Big 12 realignment map that we did last week. So last week we announced the Pac-12 winner, Josh. He had the best determined by the viewers. So Josh, congratulations on the Pac-12 one. But it's time, guys, to determine a brand new champion. It's time to determine a brand new champion. I don't know why that was so funny. All right, guys, coming in last place this week with 8.5%. Sorry, Lyle. It happens. It happens to the best of us.
You hate to see it.
Sorry,
You hate
Lyle.
to see it. Coming in third place with 25.9% is Josh. So, Josh, unfortunately, you can't determine every conference, but
Put up a fight, man. I was doing really well early too.
Early on through about the first day, there was a 3-way kind of 5% gap where it looked like it was anyone's game. Then it kind of went a different direction. In second place with 31.7% is Brady. So you know what that means. Unfortunately for you guys, my conference won with 33.9%. So I beat Brady just by 2%. For those of you that missed it, here's what the Big 12 is going to look like. It now becomes the Big 14. I have Colorado, Colorado State, Nebraska, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, TCU, SMU, Baylor, Texas, Texas A&M, and Houston. Now, just like the Big 12, there's no divisions, but if I were to break it into divisions, you got a Texas division and you got a non-Texas division. So there you have it. There is what the Big 14 now looks like. And so there you have it. So tonight we are doing the Big 10. And if you guys, we always do this every week. So we're going to all pitch and show our 4 ideas. And you guys determine who has the best and what you want to see happen in the next show. So the second I'm done giving my analysis, Brady is going to tweet on the show's account at the HH show _. You guys go, you guys vote for your favorite, vote for the one you want to see the most. And for next week's show, we are going to announce the winner. So we're the ones that come up with these proposals, but you guys are the ones that determine what exactly you want to see. So again, whenever I'm done giving my, proposal,
8:35 is when the tweet will be live. So whenever that hits, it's going to be up.
8:35 p.m. Eastern. So that's 22 minutes from now. Head on over there, make sure to vote. And there you have it. So boys, without further ado, I think it's time we get into it. And I did a randomizer of who's going to go first. Because I didn't feel like going first this week. As the host, I always like going last. So I just did a randomizer. And guys, going first this week, according to the randomizer, is Lyle. So Lyle, you've been chosen by random.org. There you have it. So Lyle.
Random.org.
I thought it was a government website.
Seems legit.
Maybe it is. It seems legit. So Lyle, everyone's waiting. Let's see your proposed Big 10 conference.
All right, let's do it. I'm ready to go. I know Brady is very eager to pull this up.
Oh.
And there you go. Okay, I'm going to read it out. The west side of the conference of the Big 10. North Dakota State, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Northwestern. On the east side of the conference, Michigan, Michigan State, Cincinnati, Ohio State, Penn State. So full disclaimer to first touch on, so those are my 10 teams of the conference for those listening. So I made the Big 10 again. Now, touching on Nebraska, I followed the poll this week and I was kind of tracking who was winning. And since Blake already put Nebraska in the Big 12, I didn't want to have an overlap. So I just kind of, I left them off. I left them in the Big 12 so we didn't have the overlap. That's Nebraska. Illinois, Indiana, Purdue, Rutgers, and Maryland have all been removed. And when I say removed, there's no foreshadowing. They've just straight up been relegated. All 5 of those teams have been relegated out of the conference. Look, guys, I'm weeding out the weak here. I'm cutting out the fat. And when you look at it, the ins and bits of this conference, you look at these 10 teams and maybe, Northwestern was a little bit on the brink too, but what they've done in the last few years kept them around for me. North Dakota State, I mean, a couple of you guys had them in the Big 12 last week. These guys are legit. I mean, they've had double-digit win seasons each of the last 7 or 8 years. They've got 16 national titles. I mean, you put them in a Power 5 conference, I think they're going to compete. Cincinnati, the other team that I added, here's a team that has made 2 New Year's Six Bowls or BCS Bowls since the new millennium. The last 2 years, they have double-digit wins. This is a team that can easily compete in a Power 5 conference. And I think these 2 teams match up with everybody else a lot better than the 5 teams I removed. Again, what have you done for me lately? The 5 teams I kicked out of this conference, sorry, Brady, haven't been cutting it, especially as of late. So a lot of people like.
I think Lyle just was muted by me on accident.
Yeah, you did. You did mute me for a second. So I'll wrap up and say this. People like to call the SEC the best conference in the country, and rightfully so. You throw those 10 teams against the SEC, that's one lethal conference to me. And I liked, when I threw these teams out on paper and out on the map, I was like, that conference is legit. I just cut out all like the unnecessary fat and the unnecessary edges around the meat of the conference. And I look at those 10 and I was like, wow, these guys are going to put up a fight.
So the Big Ten's now the worst basketball conference in all of basketball.
Well, this isn't a basketball show, is it? Though?
It's not. And
in football, you throw these 10 teams. I mean, that east side of the division's still probably stronger. But man, I mean, I look at those 10 teams and say, there's no such thing as a surefire win week in and week out.
Lyle, do yourself a favor and avoid the live comment section at all costs, because a lot of people disagree with you, putting it lightly. But hey, as Lyle does every week when he has his controversial takes, he explains it well, he backs it up, and major props. Yeah, guys.
Who do people in the comments have a problem with being removed?
I really don't think there's anything in specific. Everyone's just saying what? So
it's just more of it's just more of a befuddled, resounding confusion from everybody is what it is.
Flabbergastery.
I gotcha. Look, man.
I mean, Benjamin Ivy says get wrecked, Lyle. So get wrecked.
Then there you go. Look, man, like, is anybody really craving to watch Illinois or like Rutgers football every week? I don't think so. Like, I don't have any interest to turn those games on. I put 10 teams in this.
Can I play devil's advocate real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
So I don't mean to cause a disturbance with my good pal Peter Warren, who you guys know, who goes to Northwestern, and is an avid listener of the Harris Highlight Show. But has Northwestern been like significantly better than Maryland in recent years?
Yeah,
they made a Big Ten championship game, but that was like a fluke year.
Yeah, I mean the rest of that division was they had that one really good year, but like Maryland's had a few decent years.
Okay, Maryland,
I just want to say right now really quickly, Lyle, we just got a tweet from one David Klain who says, Lyle, WTF are ins and bits. David Klain wants to know.
Oh, did I say that? Maybe I slurred my words. The ins and outs of the conference, I should say. Okay, Maryland was 3-9 in 2019. They were 4-8 in 2017. They were 3-9 in 2015. They were 2-10 in 2011. They were 4-8 in 2012. Like,
that's like a 6-year gap right there, and they weren't even in the Big Ten then, Lyle.
Well, they weren't all that great. Okay, so since they joined the Big Ten, they were 3-9 in 2019. They were 5-7 in 2018. They were 4-8 in 2017.
Well, what were they in 2014?
7-6 in a bowl game that they lost. Like,
they got some big wins that year, though, didn't they?
Look, man, I just don't think anybody's really gonna miss watching Maryland football that much in the Big Ten.
I know one person who will.
Football, Lyle. Crab cakes in football.
Can they compete with the 10 teams that are in that conference? Northwestern, maybe. The rest of them, I don't know.
But what has Northwestern done other than that one season that was kind of a fluke? When Clayton.
Well, their actual overall success in the last like 5 years is better than Maryland. They had a bad year this past year, but they've been better like as a whole in recent years. So like 9-5 in 2018, they were 10-3 in 2017, they were 10-3 in 2015. Like, they have been better than Maryland has been.
Okay.
Well, there you go, Brady. Before we get to our next one, do you want to show the photo?
Yeah, 1 second. This would make the Big Ten the second smallest conference in front of the Ivy League, which has 8 teams.
That's called the Big Ten. I made it the Big Ten.
Yeah, I'll pull the photo up.
So as you guys saw earlier in the show, we had one of our viewers, Albert, send us a photo of his man cave, his Utah man cave. Well, this is pretty cool. I think this made the man cave even better, guys. Here he is sitting in his man cave.
Oh, that's cool.
Watching the Harris Highlight Show. So, Albert, you're the man. You're awesome. Thanks again. Guys, I kind of want to go and visit Albert for an ASU Utah game. and we can spend all day in the man cave and check out some football. But that's awesome. So again, Albert, if you're still watching, major shout out to you. That's incredible. But guys, according to random.org, going up next is Brady. So
I thought it was
Brady.
Gov, but okay.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. So Brady, it's your time to shine. Can you improve on Lyles? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, I kept Indiana, so it's an improvement already.
There you go.
The ins and bits of my map are much better than the ins and bits of Lyles, whatever that was. So here's my Big Ten. I also renamed the conferences back to the leaders and legends because that was really cool. Got rid of 2 schools. Hey, Northwestern, you're the second team in my realignment to be thrown to the Ivy League. Enjoy being in the smart people conference.
That
also,
means it's actually a bigger conference than the Big Ten.
It would be 10, so it would be the same.
Well, I know, but can you put Stanford and Cal in there too?
I put Cal in the Mountain West, just Stanford.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then I got rid of Rutgers too. So my new teams in the Big Ten are Minnesota, Iowa State, Iowa, Illinois, Northwestern, Indiana, Purdue, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, Kentucky, Penn State, and the Maryland Terrapins.
Oh, I'm going to go first. First off, the names are great. The leaders division and the legends division. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Also, do you like my split for the division? I had to keep IU and Purdue together.
Oh, of course. I mean, you got to. Can we
Such
just talk about
teams to this conference, of course.
Can we just talk about how stacked the Legends division is and how unfair that is? Because poor like Kentucky and Maryland, you got Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Wisconsin. If Michigan State just goes back to their winning ways, I mean, if you're like Nebraska or Iowa and you're in the Leaders Conference, you're competing for a playoff spot potentially every year when you have to play Indiana, Purdue, Illinois, like those teams every year. But hey, everyone in the comments likes it. Everyone's saying that the Legends is stacked. But I just had to say,
the Legends is stacked. Wow. But you look at what the conferences are now. What is it, East and West now? The East is just so much more powerful than the West already. So these are essentially the same conferences. But foreshadowing Kentucky being brought up into the Big Ten. That's what you can tell from my SEC one. And then from last week, the Big 12, I didn't go off the basis that, Blake's map won, so you can't add them. I still added Iowa State into the Big 10. I think they're going to be a great addition to have the in-state rivalry with Iowa. Had to keep IU Purdue as a rivalry. And then also adding Kentucky. I know Lyle said earlier, we're not a basketball show, but bringing Kentucky to the Big 10 for Big 10 basketball is definitely a highlight that I wanted to add into there also.
I like it.
Yeah.
There you go. Before guys, we get to the next one based on random.gov, random.org, random.com. I did promise that the next, I think 5 people that follow the show, they'd get a shout out. So a real quick shout out to Rants, a shout out to Elliot Dean, a shout out to Rundoggy17 Gaming. And we got a few more followers, but for some reason they're not showing up. So again, if you go follow the show right now, we'll give you guys a shout out right there. All right, boys. On
behalf of the whole show, I'd like to apologize for any names that may or may not have been mispronounced.
By Blake and Blake only.
Yeah.
Yeah. By me and me only.
Blake's known for 2 things on this show: his magnificent beard that he shaved and is now a mustache, and saying every name wrong.
There you go. Yeah, a lot of people
and underpaying his employees.
Oh yeah, underpaying them severely. Yeah, guys. When we started the show, a lot of people in the comments were saying, "What happened to my beard?" So yeah, guys, I shaved unfortunately, but by next week, since I'm so old, the beard will be back. All right, boys. According to random.org, going third will be Josh. All right, Josh, you're up.
So random.
It's so random. Can you get redemption and have people like your conference? We'll have to wait and see. But Josh, whenever Brady gets it up, you're more than free to go.
This is the one that I was most excited for outside of the Pac-12. So for the people that are watching live, here's a look at it. First and foremost, Nebraska is gone. I put them in the Big 12 last week. And Rutgers, as Lyle once said, and I quote, "You're done, Rutgers." So that happened. They're not there anymore. And then I added a couple of new teams. So this week was all about rivalries for me and creating those in-state rivalries. So I put Pittsburgh in the Big Ten East now. So they have that in-conference rivalry with Penn State that they play every year. And then Iowa State gets added into the Big Ten also from the Big 12, and they can have that Iowa rivalry. The other team that the two other teams that I add in, Indiana now has the most teams in the conference, crunched into one state. I add Notre Dame to the conference. And then I also add Cincinnati in Ohio. So you add a third team to Indiana, and then you add a second team to Ohio, and maybe you can get a little rivalry going with Cincinnati and Ohio State. And fact of the matter is I went number one based off of geography. I think the only two teams that you can argue aren't really in that Midwest area or close to the other teams already were Rutgers, who I kicked out that I just didn't think they fit, Maryland, and Penn State, because I think if we're being honest, Penn State would also fit in the ACC. But if I put Cincinnati, and obviously you keep Ohio State and you drop Pitt in there, that kind of bridges that gap between those two East Coast schools. And I think that kind of rounds out the conference really well. And I mean, like, the teams speak for themselves. Pitt's been to 16 bowl games since 2000, and they could have that rivalry with Penn State. Cincinnati's been to 15 bowl games since 2000. And like, their string of coaches at Cincinnati have all been really good. Mark D'Antonio, Brian Kelly, Tommy Tuberville, and now Luke Fickell. I think they fit well into the conference. Iowa State, obviously. And Notre Dame for me it's an obvious one. I think a lot of people would be like, oh, put them in the ACC because that's where they are because of basketball. They're already in the Big Ten for hockey, and they already have hockey rivalries with half these schools. You put them into the Big Ten. They play a Big Ten style of football like they do at the ACC. They already play a handful of Big Ten teams every year, and that can kind of rekindle its rivalry with Michigan. And obviously, I think that could be a protected rivalry too, Michigan and Michigan State. So the new divisions in the West, Minnesota, Iowa State, Iowa, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Illinois, Purdue, which I actually broke up from IU, but that's a protected rivalry, obviously, and Notre Dame. And then in the East, Michigan and Michigan State, Ohio State and Cincinnati, Indiana, Pitt, Penn State, and Maryland. I didn't kick Maryland out. I think that, especially with the way that I feel like they're trending slightly upward, I think would be fine to leave them in. And then basketball-wise, I think leaving them in is a good fit. And Rutgers, it's just like, dude, it ain't happening with me, man. Like, I'm done. I enjoyed your little experiment, but dude, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not sold on it. Was never sold on it. So sorry, it ain't working out. You're gone.
I'm gonna be honest. When Josh sent me his earlier today or last night, I really liked it. I said to him, the addition of Pitt was one of my favorite that I've seen across any of the maps because it's such a Big Ten centralized location. It's a good school. They put up great fights against a lot of the schools they play in the ACC. So I think the addition for them to the Big Ten was my favorite. I'm going to be honest with Josh. Yours is my favorite so far that we've seen.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean,
Notre Dame in the Big Ten is pretty cliche, though.
Aside from your own, you've seen one.
Even with my own,
competition?
even with my own, I'd still say Josh. His is a running favorite so far.
Well, wait till you see mine, Brady.
I have seen yours, Blake.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Well, does anyone have any thoughts before we move on?
I
Lyle?
the Big Ten bar to the Big Ten logo.
Notre Dame is best left independent, which is, spoiler, what I'm leaving them. If fans want to have some more fun on this show.
That's BS.
Josh, what'd you say about the Big Ten bar?
I matched the Big Ten bar to the Big Ten logo's color.
Did you notice what I did with my name? I did the apostrophe S in the Big Ten blue also.
Oh, did you? No,
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
But last week I noticed you did the same thing with you used the exact same red Big 12 logo I did, and you matched your color to it.
You know what we're going to do? We're just going to add a few teams to the independents and just make that a conference in itself and make that the new Power 6.
What if, and I do have this already, I rebuilt the Ivy League? What if I have a whole rebuilt Ivy League that's now the 6th power conference? I did it, by the way. I have it done.
Or you pick the current independents, and that is the new conference. So congratulations, BYU, Notre Dame, UMass.
I think you'll like my Ivy League. It's pretty good. I'll save that for next week or for 2 weeks.
All right, everyone. So without further ado, again, according to random.org/com/gov, I was fourth. I was last. So yeah, guys, let's get to the fourth and final one for Big Ten realignment. Again, you guys can go to Twitter in 5 minutes at the HH show _ and vote for your favorites. And like I do every week, guys, I don't have any divisions at all. I just have one mega conference because that makes everything better. All right, guys, starting off, I have North Dakota State. I have them in the Big Ten. I know we've kind of had them. I think last week some of us had them in the Big 12. Tonight some of us had them in the Big 10. North Dakota State, I want to see them go D1, and I think the Big Ten just makes the most sense.
They are
Other notable changes. I got Iowa State coming in, joining Iowa. We got to get that Iowa State-Iowa rivalry within the conference. And overall, again, it just makes perfect sense. Lyle, I unfortunately enjoy watching Illinois football. I enjoy watching Northwestern football. So I
enjoy Northwestern too. They're in my conference.
I enjoy them right there. Notre Dame, this one, I know Lyle said he wants to keep them independent. I personally think Notre Dame should be in a conference. Now, they do have a better schedule being independent because they schedule a lot better games. I think Notre Dame has to be somewhere. A lot of people think they have to be in the ACC because they play, it seems like, more ACC teams than normal. But I think logistically, it just makes sense having them in the Big Ten. I mean, you look at the map of where they are, they're like right in the heart of everything. So I think having Notre Dame in the Big Ten makes perfect sense. I did take Kentucky from the SEC. I moved them up just because they are kind of, again, within the range right there. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to take a team from the SEC like Kentucky and move them on in. Brady, I'm sorry. Indiana, Purdue, they're gone. They're no longer in the Big Ten. I needed them. Are they in the ACC? Are they in the SEC? You guys are going to have to stay tuned to see where they go. I am kind of bummed that Josh decided to have Pitt in his. I thought I'd be the only one. I do bring Pitt in because we have a nice rivalry between them and Penn State that we'll get on a year-to-year basis in conference that I think would be fantastic for the conference as a whole. So overall, and I keep the 2 Michigan schools. So there's my new and improved. I believe I have 14. Yeah, I have 14 teams in here, I think. Again, no divisions, but there's my new and improved Big 14, guys.
You know, Blake, our good friend Short Round in the comments says, and I quote, Blake, you lazy piece of garbage, make divisions.
Never. One jumbo conference. But if I were to do the division, guys, this is what I would do for my division.
It's very obvious what you should do.
You see that line that separates Notre Dame and Northwestern and Illinois? That's the boundary.
Indiana-Illinois borderline? Yeah, that one.
So what I have is I have one super mega conference that's even more lopsided than what Brady's was. Or I think it was Brady's. Yeah, it was Brady's what the conference was. In one division, you have Michigan, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Penn State. And then the other one, you have teams like Northwestern, Illinois, North Dakota State, Iowa State, and that's just a free-for-all every year. So you just have one mega division and one awful division.
Hey, I have a new idea for you, Blake. You take this, you do the interior division and the exterior division.
Ooh.
So in one division, you just do a circle, and you have North Dakota State, Iowa State, Kentucky, Penn State, Michigan, and I don't care, Illinois. And then all of the teams in the middle are in one division.
I will say this, I'm reading through the comments. Infinity Fire brings up a great point. None of us had any love for Western Michigan.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Did all 3 of you guys leave Illinois in your conference?
Yeah. Have guys, respect to the Blue Bloods, Lyle.
They're like almost as bad as Rutgers. Like, how are they getting left in? I'm just saying.
Lovey Smith, man. The Lovey Smith effect.
I guess. They did beat Wisconsin. I'll give them that. Right? They beat Wisconsin. Yeah.
All right. Well, boys, I officially just went in and the tweets live. I went and I added the poll. So you guys can officially go right now and vote for who you think has the best conference at the HH show _. It's the pin tweet. Go. And like I said, whoever you think has the best, go on, let your voice be heard, vote. The polls will be open for 1 week. And yeah, next week we'll let you guys know who came out on top. One thing I was shocked by when reading through all the live comments that were coming in, I was shocked how many people didn't want Notre Dame to be like in a conference. I thought a lot of people would have been more on board with Notre Dame joining a conference, but I guess like Lyle, who wants them to remain independent, I guess a lot of fans want Notre Dame to be independent, or they just really want to see them in the ACC or maybe the SEC. So that was one thing I was shocked by.
Let me say this. I get why people like them independent. I mean, as somebody who grew up with the access to watch them on national TV every week, I get it. And if you join a conference, that kind of cuts your deal out. But okay, if they switched from playing 5 ACC games a year and they changed their schedule to where they played like 5 to 6 Big Ten games a year, like I'd be okay with that, because I mean, some people like to say, well, their schedule is often weak every year because they play some run-of-the-mill ACC team 5 times a year. You play, if you play Big Ten teams, the Big Ten's a better conference than the ACC. I would be all ears to that, and like you guys said, geographically that makes more sense. And you keep the Michigan rivalry, and there's probably better games. Plus, they have a little bit of I don't know if it's a rivalry, but I mean they have played Michigan State a lot too in years past. So I mean, I think logistically that would make a little more sense if they would flip it from 5 ACC games to like 5 Big Ten games.
I like that. You know, it would make sense to, especially the geographical part of it. Also, real quick, we're on the Big Ten topic. This is quick. Got to give props to Fred Glass. IU's athletic director just retired after 11 years at IU. So, hey, Fred Glass, thanks for making IU slightly less terrible and a little more decent at sports.
Yeah,
right, guys,
he retired and then they got kicked out of the conference by me.
They've been relegated.
You're gone, IU. You're gone.
All right, guys. So we're about to get a very special guest in right now. But before we do that, I just want to quickly mention we're 22 votes in already through the poll. Josh is currently leading the way in first place. Lyle, 22 votes. You don't have a single vote yet, bud. Sorry.
Hey, man, if people want to waste their time watching Maryland and Illinois, go ahead. But
if you're watching right now, could someone please go get Lyle a vote, or just don't vote and have Lyle we have like 200 votes in this entire poll and Lyle doesn't get a single one. Lyle, you're not wrong. I guess people just they want to watch Illinois football.
What?
Oh, that's fun.
Josh is at 61% of the votes right now.
Brady, I think you opened the voting before I went, so people didn't see mine yet. So I think that's why they all went in on Josh.
You're the one that opened the voting.
Ooh, that's true. That's true. So, boys, I just sent the link for our special coach friend to join. So I don't know how the waiting room is. I think
he'll just join right in.
He'll just jump in. So we have a very special guest. Now, if you guys have any questions for him, leave them in the live chat. I'll go through and I'll pick out some questions if you guys want to ask him. We'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, guys, I mean, momentarily. So
read through some of these comments. I'll vote for Lyle. #pity vote.
Lyle's going to come in and win this thing now.
He's going to win it. He's going to win it.
Everyone just came in and wanted to start getting him votes. So that would have happened right there. All right, here we go, boys. We're getting them in. We're getting them in right now. How's it going, Jairus? Ladies and gentlemen, joining us is Dayton, assistant linebackers coach, assistant special teams coach, Jairus Getter. Jairus, how you doing tonight, my man?
I'm good, brother. Thank you guys for having me. Well, I know you said you're bad at pronouncing names, but you're 100% on mine, and I'm not used to that. So,
well, thank goodness you have previous videos on YouTube of you actually saying your name, because that's what I did before. I went and I found a video of you saying your name, so I said, thank goodness I can't butcher this now. So you really saved me there. But yeah, so I'm going to say right now in the live chat, guys, if you have any questions for Jairus, he's an assistant coach at Dayton, let us know. Just say your questions, and when we're done, we'll ask him any questions you guys have. So Jairus, I'm going to kick things off right now for you. So obviously we're still 2 months away, but yesterday Dayton, they came out, and I think they were like the first. I mean, there's been some other kind of smaller schools, but Dayton being an FCS school, they were kind of like the first big kind of named team to announce that they're officially canceling, your first game of the season. I just wanted to get your opinion. Kind of what was the thought process like between you and the coaching staff having to make, a really difficult decision such as that? I'm sure it couldn't have been easy. And why did you guys make the decision 2 months out where, we're still 10 weeks away from opening kickoff? Why did you guys opt to make the decision now as opposed to maybe waiting another month or maybe waiting a few more weeks?
Right. So our idea is to protect the kids first, and that was our main thing. Really hard decision, but our athletic director, Neil Sullivan, and Coach Chamberlain worked closely together to come to that decision. It wasn't easy for us, especially for our freshmen coming in, wanting to experience a full season of football, and our seniors who are going out. It was kind of like one of those things where you want a normal season, but we knew coming in that it wasn't going to be normal. Like we already knew. Hard decision to make, but they came to a decision to best protect us. And, now we're working on protocols to keep it safe all year long. So I think, and then to answer your second question, why we canceled this was because we probably wouldn't have started camp until mid-August. That's what we were looking at. We didn't know. It's up in the air. Of course, you guys probably know it changes every 15 minutes. So it was kind of one of those things where you have to go, okay, we're going to establish this so we can get protocols and be safe and keep everybody, but kind of give that normalcy and kind of wait it out and see. But if we went in on the 15th of August, which is where we're projected, we wanted to give our guys the best opportunity to be trained, be in football shape. You're training now, but football, as you guys probably know, football shape and, being in shape are two completely different things. So we didn't want to see ourselves at a disadvantage or have SEMO at a disadvantage because everybody's going at this the same time. So I think that's what we were looking at.
I understand, obviously, if you guys aren't going to be in camp until, like you said, August, what difficulties have you guys had in terms of, daily communication or weekly communication with the players?
So as of right now, we go 3-4 days a week. We have upperclassmen one day, freshmen one day. We have staff meetings. Then we flip-flop between team meetings where everybody's there and then virtual workouts where it's just the players, like no coaches allowed. So we keep it in tune. Like anything the NCAA gives us, any amount of time, we're taking full advantage to talk to our kids. And you really want to make that connection between the freshmen and the upperclassmen, and it's really hard to do that virtually. I think you're at a disadvantage there, but what we're trying to do is make sure everybody's on the right page and bonds. And then outside of that, they're texting each other, they're talking to each other, they're doing their workouts together. So there is that kind of connector, but between the coaching staff and all the kids and us, we meet 3-4 days a week. So makes it a little easier. But starting July 6th, there's going to be kind of a time constraint change. Not really sure those details, but I think it's like 2 hours of film meeting time and then team meetings. So it was kind of one of those things where, yeah, you're getting a lower, amount of time each week, but we're going to try to maximize that. And that's what we're really good at doing.
Oh, hey, Coach, kind of going back to last season and I guess kind of getting off the topic of what's in the future, I wanted to ask you about the past a little bit. And your guys day in and day out over the last few years got to go up against a player like Adam Troutman, who's now found himself on the New Orleans Saints squad, a day 2 pick in the NFL draft, especially for your linebackers group. How much does seeing a guy like that in practice day in and day out help your guys come game day?
Right. So I think if you go up against a future professional athlete, a little bit crazy, right? Not really a lot of FCS programs kind of get that advantage. So Adam Troutman is probably the most freakish athlete that I've seen coaching wise. I mean, I've only been in this thing. This is my 4th year. So obviously I don't have a lot of time, but that kid is ridiculous. So for our linebackers, nobody could cover him. Like even as a freshman, like he got better and better and better and better and better. And I think that really prepped us because the PFL has actually had quite a few tight ends in recent years come out and go to the NFL. There was a guy from Drake and then a guy from San Diego who were both tight ends that came out. So seeing Adam Troutman gave our guys preparation to say, hey, if we could try to cover this guy, hopefully that muscle memory comes over to the other guys too. And they did a pretty good job. But improvement, obviously. I mean, that's what you do as a coaching staff and a team. You look for ways to improve, and linebacker coverage is a way that we can improve this year. And I think we'll be doing a good job. We got Jay Valley coming in this upcoming year. He worked with Adam his entire time there. Looking forward to see what Jay can do too.
Coach, one of my teammates from high school is actually a DB on Dayton, and he spoke so highly of you, Austin Newland. He said you were one of the most energetic and passionate guys. What do you love most about being around this Dayton football squad?
These kids, man, they allow me to be myself. When I get on that field, I am somebody who I want to exert that energy into other kids. And I don't know if you guys really look me up, but I was in the Dayton Daily News last year. I have mild cerebral palsy on my left-hand side. So what I wanted to do is show these guys that hey, if I can do this, let's do this together. I love these athletes because they treat me like I'm family. They treat me like I'm their own. And I would love and protect them like they're my little brothers. They're like 110 little brothers I never wanted, I look after them. It's a family atmosphere at Dayton. These kids are probably my biggest blessing so far, because the thing about coaching is you got to be fortunate about where you're at. You can't – I want to think into the future. I have big goals, but you got to be where your feet are, and I think that's really important. So these kids allow me to be great. They allow me to learn. They allow me to, be myself, and I think that's the biggest blessing that I can get from these athletes and that coaching staff and the administrative staff. I'm very fortunate to be at Dayton. I'm a volunteer coach. I work part-time. I'm actually an IU grad, by the way. So I work in Indiana. I work in Richmond, and I drive to Dayton an hour and 10 minutes every day to practice. And then I drive 45 minutes home, and I don't get a dime, but I get the experience and I get to be around this team. I wasn't given the opportunity to be on a team when I was in high school, middle school, because it was just ability-wise. I couldn't do it, but being around that family atmosphere, man, there's nothing like it. And these guys have been, I will talk just as highly of them. And, that's the only thing I ever wanted was those guys to go, you know what? I appreciate Coach Getter for what he's done. And that's all I ever wanted, was to give these guys a different perspective. So when you say things like that, talking about guys who think so highly of me, that's the greatest gift in the world. Austin Newland, buddy, if you watch this, thank you very much.
I'll report back to Austin for sure and tell him you said that. He also said you're a big history guy, football history guy, and you drop knowledge on him all the time.
Absolutely, man. Get me in on a trivia show. Let's do it.
Hey.
I like it.
Have you come up with some questions for us?
Oh, for sure, man.
Absolutely.
I like it. Coach, before we get to some questions from our viewers, I just have one more. I kind of want to build off. You talked about your goals. Is this something, I know you mentioned it's kind of small, kind of part-time. Is this something where you just love it so much, where you kind of want to continue building on this, for your career? I mean, everyone, they start, kind of bottom tier as a coach and they work your way up. Is that something you kind of envision where you put in some years and kind of work your way up the ladder? Do you have defensive coordinator views in mind? Are you going I want to be a head coach wherever it's at someday? Because it obviously seems like it's something you love. This is something you're passionate about. Is it kind of, at this point, your number one goal to just keep moving up the ranks like that?
Oh, absolutely. I think, I was in a coaching clinic with Coach Jason Brown, which everybody knows is the former ICC coach one day. And he said, if you don't want to be a head coach one day and you're in an interview with me, I don't want to hire you. So that kind of really stuck with me. And it was one of those things where, you say, do you want to stay where you're at and work your way up? Absolutely. If I get to stay at Dayton for my whole career, I'm not going to be mad about it. If I get to, the dream for me is Power 5. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. I'm working right now to be the best linebacker coach I can be. I want to be the best linebacker coach in the FCS. I want to be somebody who, Coach Chamberlain, the head coach, the actual linebacker coach, trusts with all of his guys. I'm trying to build that. I'm also trying to get to where I know enough about special teams to where I can coordinate special teams if I have to. That flexibility is important. So what I'm trying to do, I would love to stay at Dayton for as long as I possibly can, man. But Power 5 is the dream. I would be lying to you if I said it wasn't. To those people who want to be coaches, I was very fortunate to jump from college to college, but I went D3 to D1. So when I went 0-20 my first 2 years, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. Coach Chamberlain gives me a call, gives me an opportunity. You have to make sacrifices for these opportunities sometimes. And I knew that I wanted to be Division I, and I'm very fortunate to be at where I'm at. But I think excuse me, if you can go from volunteer part-time to full-time assistant coach, I think that would be the dream. But very fortunate to be at Dayton right now, and I want to be where my feet are at so I can give these kids the best opportunity. But yes, defensive coordinator is the dream. Head coach is the dream. I want that Power 5 job, so that's what I'm working towards. So hopefully one day.
Coach, somebody in the comments Blake had mentioned, we'll get to the comments in a couple of minutes, but somebody had kind of asked, what's your advice for an aspiring young coach? And you kind of touched on that. So I'll go a little bit, I'll go in a little bit of a different direction. For someone that has mild cerebral palsy and the position that you're in, what advice would you give to somebody who maybe has a similar condition and wants to get to a position like you?
Make sure you talk to your coaches about what you need up front, because if you feel as if you can't be comfortable in a spot and you need to be, accommodated, that's important. Coach Chamberlain made sure that I was taken care of and I was in positions on the field where I wasn't getting run over. There was a situation, I get the special teams together, right? So this was Saturday. This was in game, and at Drake, I almost got ran over getting the special teams ready. And two of my players, Matt Young and Andrew Holder, actually picked me up and moved me out of the way. And you need to make sure that you're appreciated where you're at. Don't go to a job where you feel as if you can't be comfortable or your disability bothers you. I have to sit down and practice, and that's okay. Like, if you have CP, people are going to look at you differently. You are going to hear so many no's, it's going to be crazy. But once you hear that first yes, it's like, you can do it. So you're going to hear a lot of no's, but make sure that you're able to sell yourself. For me, I've never known a stranger in my life. I can jump in a room, I can start talking to anybody. I talked to Blake, about this, but I've never met you guys personally. I don't know you, but I'm going to jump in here and act like I've known you my whole life. Be personable, have people skills, get those ready, and then get your experience. If you have to start at middle school, start at middle school. I got lucky. I threw a rock and hit the ocean. I was pretty fortunate to start where I started, but as a young coach with a disability, you have to know that, like, you are going to put yourself in a position. You have to send out resumes. I sent out 120 before I got a job at Dayton. Send those resumes. Tell them you're willing to volunteer. Make those sacrifices. And now, I have the potential to work at Dayton part-time and then go to practice because, Coach Chamberlain enjoys having me around, so he's going to help me out a little bit. Due to the COVID-19 stuff, we don't know how certain that is and when that's going to happen. But you need to find a place where coaches are willing to work with you. And I think that's important, but you also need to sell yourself.
All right. Well, we had a lot of questions and I wrote down like 5 or 6 in the Google Doc, but your answers have been so great. You kind of like knocked out a bunch of them. So we have 2, and I'm saving the best one that I think everyone wants to know for last. This one question comes from Pac-12 Shorts. What advice do you have for someone who wants to walk on to a team? So I'm sure a team like Dayton, they maybe, I'm just spitballing here. Maybe they have more guys that try to walk on than a team like Ohio State or something. So maybe you're very familiar with that. What advice would you give to someone that, can't necessarily get that scholarship, but they're interested in walking on for football?
Right. So we have walk-on days at the University of Dayton, and we have walk-on tryouts. So we appreciate our walk-ons. You will spend a lot of time with me on the special team scout team, but you'll make a difference. Believe me. But one word of advice that I have is know what you're doing. Learn the position that you want to go to, because 9 times out of 10, if you come into Dayton and you play, let's say you played, I don't know, corner at the high school level and you're 5'6", 140 pounds, you're going to play running back, right? For us, most likely, or DB. It just depends on what Coach Chamberlain sees and where we see you fit. So you have to make sure that you are well prepared, well trained, workout, run. We do a mile run. There are 2 sports teams in the entire country who still run a mile for their conditioning tests. University of Dayton football, Duke men's basketball, that's it. And it's all about conditioning yourself, being ready to go when you're called upon. Don't be nervous about, I mean, it's nerve-wracking to try to walk on, but be that person that's just like, I'm going to go out here, I'm going to kill this, and I'm going to start. Because in my mind, I go out there every day going, I could be the special teams coordinator, or I want to be this, or I want to be here, or whatever. And I'm the lowest guy on the totem pole, and I want to believe that I can go here if they ask me to. So you got to believe you're going to be the starting running back or whatever quarterback day one, and you got to work like it. Because once you do, we're going to see that. And if you really work like that and you improve and you're really good, you might have a shot to walk on. So that's my advice for walk-ons there.
Wonderful. And this is the question that I think most people want to know. This comes from the Caleb B. Jordan show. How long did it take you to grow out that incredible beard?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Honestly, this is trimmed, man. It was down to here. You guys seen Duck Dynasty? I'm a country boy. I'm a country boy. You could probably tell that a little bit of twang in my voice.
Up in Richmond, of course.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But it's kind of one of those things where, you know, I didn't know how to grow a beard at first because I never used the beard balm, the beard wash, and I promised myself, I said, I'm not giving into that stuff, but I did, and I've had this for 3 years, but it's been down to here, so I'd give it about 3 years. Take care of your beards, kids. Wash it, get the beard balm. I'll sell that stuff on. I'll do a sales pitch for the Amazon stuff right now if I was allowed to, because it's done wonders for this thing. So, yeah, man, it's the beard took about 3 years, but I've been growing it since probably my sophomore year of college. Had to trim it for UD. Coach Chamberlain, I walk in the interview. We get done. He likes me. He goes, "Can you trim that beard?" I said, "If you give me the job, I will shave it off. I don't care." And lo and behold, trimmed it up. Still have the job another year. I have another story for Duquesne, but that's another time if you guys have me again. But I have so many Coach Chamberlain stories, it's ridiculous. But yeah, so trim your beard if they ask you to. But if you inspire to grow this thing, do it. Start it. Ladies love the beard, man. Do it.
You hear that, Lyle? So take his advice and grow some facial hair there, bud.
Like you're the one that just shaved off your beard.
Yeah, I would say, Jared, you missed. I shaved my beard yesterday, and a bunch of people were saying I went from an 1800s presidential candidate to looking like a baby, which compared to you, I mean, my beard was like
nothing.
It's like what Lyle is compared to mine. It's absolutely nothing. But
I was gonna say, can Lyle even grow facial hair? Like,
I am getting no heat whatsoever right now. It makes me so good.
Not really, to answer your question.
You'll get
hey, Lyle, maybe next year. Maybe next year. But Jairus,
year.
Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us. This was a lot of fun. You gave great perspective. And yeah, definitely sometime down the line, we'll stay in touch and we'll get you back on to hopefully, if there's a season, talk some Dayton football, because you guys had a great season last year. So I'd expect another great season for you guys this year. So once again, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and this was a lot of fun.
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys having me. Let's talk Dayton football, because we have a potential other NFL prospect coming up, and Mr. Brandon Easterling at safety. Watch that name. I will be more than happy to talk Dayton football. And by the way, to the guys who didn't have Indiana in their Big Ten conference, you lose. You're out. So vote for Josh or Brady, because Lyle and Blake did not win.
Vote for Brady. You heard what he said.
Vote for Brady. Vote for Brady, his parting words. Thanks again, Jairus, so much.
No problem, guys. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jairus.
Thanks, Jairus. We appreciate it.
What a guy. You guys heard it right there. Vote for Josh or Brady.
Yeah.
Vote for Josh or Brady.
You guys have Illinois and Maryland in your guys' conferences. Who cares about watching those guys?
Like, Lyle. Okay, sorry. Let's stop for a second. Before we talk about Coach Getter again. If you narrow down those conferences, right? If you narrow it down to 10 teams, time is going to tell that eventually there are going to be teams in that conference that you just made where teams are just bad.
Well, then they get relegated. That was a rule we made, that you can get kicked out anytime.
You're telling me that next year, this is not next year, but this is a hypothetical anyway, so who cares about a whole hypothetical situation. In 3 years, Ohio State is not good. All right. Ohio State wins 3 or 4 games.
Well, what are the odds of that? Okay.
You just kicked 2 or 3 teams out of the conference. We are doing my hypothetical now, Lyle.
Teams that aren't good, yeah.
In 2 years, or 2 or 3 years, Ohio State is just hot, steaming pile of Rutgers garbage. Okay, and Rutgers is 12-0 over here in the FCS. All right, are you telling me that you're going to promote Rutgers back to the Big Ten and Ohio State? We're going to get another. You're done, Virginia, and you're going to kick Ohio State out of the Big Ten.
Is this just one bad year, or is it consistent? If Ohio State has one bad year, they're fine.
Right, they win the title this year. They go 14-0 and win the national championship. Okay, the next 2 years after that, they go 2-10 and 3-9. What are you going to do then?
No, they've had way too much sustained success to be kicked out of the conference. Where the teams that I kicked out have not. Like, they're just bad.
All right.
All
right.
Well, those two girls are just fighting and arguing about who knows what. It's officially time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Q&A. So if you have any questions for us, go to the live chat right now and ask us your question. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, just know that when we do the show live, we answer your questions that you give us live. So again, submit questions. And I say this every week, but I got to say it again. Try not to ask us the basic, how is this team going to do? What are your thoughts on that? Because we get so many of those, we pretty much talk a lot about it. Try to come up with some clever, unique ones. And as we always say, the questions that'll get you bonus points that likely will lead to us answering it is something unique and different. Last week's short round, he asked us the question about, would you rather fight 100-pound bee or 100 one-pound bees? Something fun like that we can talk about and have a good conversation going. So again, ask us your questions, something different that we can give different input on. But guys, the first question we have, I got this on Twitter, and this came from Caleb Shoemaker. And I don't know if this is the same one that I just talked about, but apparently I butchered his name. It's spelled Kaleb. So I'm not sure if this is just another one I said, right? I don't know how the way you can say Caleb. And he wants to know, I'm a Kansas State alum, and there's a petition for a Farmageddon trophy, which is between Iowa State and Kansas State. I was wondering if you guys had any ideas for what that trophy would be, because I'd love it to become a trophy game. So I sent this to you guys a few hours ago to come up with something clever and kind of fun. So guys, we're in charge of college football, which means we get to name all the trophies. So what are you guys coming up with?
So here's the thing. Both states, very similar in terms of farm production. It's like corn, it's wheat. So here's what it would be. It would be a bronze statue of half of a corn stalk like this, and then just a bundle of wheat like that, and then it's like got like a base, and you like hold it up when you win.
Kind of looks like the home run derby trophy.
Oh yeah, exactly. It looks just like that. Or if you want to mix it up, it's just a giant bronze stalk of corn, life size.
I like it.
Just like
I got one, and this goes back to it was K-State and Iowa State, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So here's what you do. You stick with the bronze, and it's sort of like it's about this big. It's a base of a trophy, and on it here is a bronze wildcat attacking a bronze tornado. And the tornado's going to win every time, because how do you beat a tornado, Lyle?
Obviously with Pistol Pete.
Yeah, you get Pistol Pete in on it.
Right. No, I think you do the two mascots sort of attacking each other.
How about this? For every point scored in that game, a piece of corn, like from a corn on the cob piece of corn,
Kernel
is stacked onto a plate, followed by another and another and another. For every point scored, you fill it, you stack them like incredibly high. The game ends. The winning team like takes the plate of corn and just dumps it into the garbage can. So no trophy. It's just some random tradition like that.
So you just wasting corn, Lyle?
No. Like, okay, how about this? You give out corn at the games and people eat it, and you give it to like, I don't know, ushers to stack on the plate. And the winning team gets to dump it into a trash.
What about they just have a corn cob fight?
Cooked corn.
All right. So corn, butter, salt, whatever you need for corn on the cob.
Popcorn.
That too, sure. And
Take
you
it
just dump
very
it into
seriously, Lyle.
Hey, there's my proposal. I thought it was a decent idea. You know, everybody has a trophy. Everybody's got a trophy. How about like just a unique out of the box tradition?
And to celebrate the win, they take a Gatorade cooler full of popcorn or corn kernels and dump it on the coach.
Sure.
Yeah, just like when Herm got doused in frosted flakes after the Frosted Flakes Bowl.
Exactly.
They should be burning hot corn kernels already cooked.
just a whole bucket full of ears of corn.
Yeah,
they get corn thrown at them
by the winning team. It's corn.
Yeah. They have to like line up with their the face against the wall in their hands, and then you just throw it at the back of their heads.
Mine's simple, guys. Mine's simple. It's just going to be one giant pitchfork, just one giant 10-foot long pitchfork. And if you win on the road, it's a tradition. You go to center field and you just start attacking that field. You dig it up, you tear it up. That's the whole pride of winning. Now, if you win at home, you don't get to tear up your field. This way it gives you motivation on the road. You tear up their field. It's the last game of the season, so they're not going to be playing there anymore. You just destroy it. You go one by one to each player and you say, here you go. Here's your 30 seconds. And you just destroy the field. There's your motivation.
30 seconds?
Yeah, they get 30 seconds. And maybe 10 seconds because there's 90 players on the team.
Yeah, that's a lot of time.
If you're just tuning in right now, we're doing the Q&A segment. So if you have any questions for us, send them away in the live chat. Make sure they're good so that way we answer them. And
I got a winner. It is a 10-foot tall painting framed of this painting.
Yes.
Yes. That's like the pitchfork I was thinking of.
Yes, that's what the winner gets.
What I wanted to
and it's 10 feet tall. It's just massive. Weighs 300 pounds. Yeah, winner gets a frame of that. It just goes back and forth, and you have to parade it around after the game.
All right, guys. The next question comes from Pac-12 Shorts. Would you guys rather have ASU go 0-12 or have U of A, which is now U Arizona, win the national championship?
I'm saying 12-0 or 0-12 because 12-0 would be sick, by the way. I'm going to say 0-12 because U of A's had some good seasons, right? But historically, they haven't really won or played in a big game. They've never played in a Rose Bowl even. So they won the Natty. That'd be their one thing. And I think it'd be pretty cool if they didn't do that. So I'll say ASU going 0-12.
Yeah, I'll go 0-12 too. Arizona wins a national championship. They'll only hold that over ASU fans' heads for 75 years. So I think ASU could take one 0-12 season in trade.
Every team has a fluke year. Not every team wins a national championship. I'm taking the 0-12 also.
Well, now, guys, that we are officially in charge of college football, this is how it's going to work. ASU is going to go 0-12. And right after they go 0-12, we implement this new rule that's essentially the college football becomes a NBA, MLB, NFL draft system where ASU just went 0-12, but they now have the number one pick when it comes to recruits. So now we're on the clock and we have the number one pick for whatever recruit we want. Because, hey, we're in charge of college football now. So I'll choose ASU to go 0-12 because, as Lyle said, we're never going to hear the end of it from Arizona fans. But, hey, Arizona, get to a Rose Bowl before you get to a national championship. Josh, you said this in the group chat, and I think this might be the question I found because I'm scrolling right now. This comes from Short Round, who always has great questions. What would your baseball walk-up song be? Mine would be Tupac's Me Against the World. So, guys, if you could play baseball, hey, I played baseball until high school. Lyle played through high school. But we both had the same amount. We both had the same amount of at bats, though.
Lyle's got to fuck with himself.
What would your guys' walk-up song be?
I
thought my joke was funny.
I used to think it would be Under Pressure by Logic, and I feel like Brady and I had talked about this in the car one time.
Yeah.
But over the course of the last year or so, I think it would switch to God's Country by Blake Shelton because that's a dope song.
That is a banger, Josh. I went with, when we were playing softball, I did a couple different ones. I went with I did centerfold for a couple of them. Lyle left. Okay. And I had a couple different, but I really think anything classic. I think Thunderstruck would just be a classic walk-up song, or Papa Dios Mijo by whoever it is that Yasiel Puig did, that Josh used for softball.
Oh, yes. Papa Dios me dijo.
Yes. Yeah. I think Thunderstruck would be a solid choice for me.
Well, by popular demand of the people, and by the people I mean our executive producer, I've been asked to put this on and hold it up for Brady's sake.
For Blake's sake. It's for Blake's sake.
Okay, for Blake's sake too. So
nice finger placement.
Well, it doesn't, dude. It's too big for a ring finger. But anyway, I used in high school The Buzz by Hermitude. I don't know. I always thought that was a good walk-up song. I would stick with that for a while, honestly, if I had to pick one.
The one that I would have gone with, which I'm upset about because now it's a thing, is Intoxicated. But Anthony Rizzo decided to do it because it was the coolest thing. I mean, you guys missed out. Maybe you guys were there. Summer 2015, summer 2016. I did this thing where every day when I went to the gym or did anything, I did a Snapchat of me playing. Just look up "Intoxicated," the song by Martin Skull. I don't know what his last name is. Great song. And I had that song in every Snapchat. And literally, if anyone went to like a rager, a party, anything, and anyone heard that song, they immediately thought of me, sent it to me. And that was going to be my song when I came up, get the crowd clapping, get them into it. And Anthony Rizzo took it. So I'm upset about that. So aside from
Blake Harris is a trendsetter. For those of you that do not know,
Anthony Rizzo got it for me. However, I would pull a Matt Colomas of the Arroyo Seco Sentinels back a few years ago when I was interning for the Arroyo Seco Sentinels. Not only was I writing for the team, they had me on the aux cord. This kid, Matt Colomas, had a different walk-up song for every at-bat, every game. The kid would come to me before every game and say, Blake, these are the 3 to 4 songs I want today for my walk-up songs. So I would just do something like that where I would have a different walk-up song for every at-bat.
Didn't you tell him one time? Didn't you tell him one time, like, yeah, if you get a hit for each, I'll give you a new walk-up song for every hit you get.
Yeah, I told him because the kid was legit hitting like 100, if that. And I said, okay, until you get a base hit, I'm not changing your walk-up song. And then I think he ended up going like 3 for 3 that day. So Matt Colomas, the guy that asked me in Palm Springs, because he was the designated hitter, he sent us a text and said, yo, I'm hungry. Can you go get me some Jack in the Box tacos? So Henry and I, we left the stadium mid-game as we were covering.
Did you walk or drive?
We drove. He drove.
Who's we?
There you go. We went to Jack in the Box. We got some food, picked up Matt Colomas some tacos, went back to the stadium. It was like the 6th inning. We go to the dugout, give him the Jack in the Box tacos. Matt Colomas.
Only baseball.
Greatest. Hey, consistency is key. Consistency is key.
The greatest.
And I was just going to say, sorry, for the couple people that I saw asked in the comments about what I held up, it was like my state championship ring from high school. So that's what it was. And consistency is key with a walk-up song.
Hey, for those of you that don't know, Lyle was a state champion
in
high school. State champion.
In badminton.
Lyle,
hey, but he is a great ping pong player.
World-class ping pong player. ASU champion.
World-class ping pong player, but I settled on baseball for some reason. Instead of training to go to the Olympics for ping pong, I decided to play baseball.
What's funny is it sounds like we're joking and we're 100% being honest. He won the ASU tournament.
He got a custom set of ASU paddles.
That is actually true. Like, that was like what, first 2 weeks of freshman year?
Yeah. And Lyle was like, I'm decent at ping pong. And we're like, yeah, whatever. And he goes and just.
The amount of girls that were lined up outside Lyle's room after he won the ping pong tournament, I lost track, man. Yeah. And then when I roomed with Lyle,
Lexi running away doesn't count.
Literally the following year, because Lyle and I roomed together. Every time I go down to eat a meal, I'm seeing all these girls that are like pointing at us. I'm thinking, great, this is awesome. I'm pulling. No, they're just all going, oh my God, there's Lyle, the kid that won ping pong last year. So it was really
wizard.
It was really tough having to hang with Lyle those times. Guys, this isn't a question. This is just a statement from College Football Obsession. Tulane has the best uniforms in the country.
Hey, Tulane does have the sick helmet. It's the baby blue one that has the giant wave on it.
When they have the baby blue uniforms, I must say those are some pretty nice uniforms. Joseph Hartzell, would you rather go to a Penn State whiteout or a West Virginia stripeout?
Penn State whiteout, I think. Unless West Virginia is going to win and then they sing Country Roads.
Yeah. Penn State whiteout. They sing it at every game.
Oh, then still Penn State.
it's like I always say. I mean, the two places I'd want to see a game are either Death Valley at LSU for a night game or a whiteout at Penn State. So whiteout.
All right, we got some good ones now. This one comes from Johnny Barrow. Who would win in an NFL mascot battle? We've talked about college football mascots, but NFL-wise, who would come out on top if they just had a Royal Rumble?
I'm going to count the Chargers as a horse, all right? Sorry.
I would.
So not a lightning bolt?
No, I'm sorry. Like, that's the way that I'm going to go because that's where they got the name from. So I'm going to go with a horse. Man, I don't know. That's tough. I mean, maybe the Buccaneers, and unless I'm missing like a very obvious one. Am I missing somebody? Like
there's a lot of like animals.
Animal mascots. There aren't a lot of like, thing mascots.
Like the Bengals are probably up there, right?
The Bengals or a Seahawk.
Lions, the Patriots. I mean, Patriots have guns. So do Pirates. But like, again,
wait. I just realized. So the Chargers mascot is a horse. But when I get a hard time about Pistol Pete versus a hurricane, well, the Hurricanes mascot is actually like a bird for Miami. So it's not actually a hurricane. But the Charger here is a horse.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Yes, it's okay. The reason it's a bird, Lyle, is because you can't put a storm in a costume.
Stanford made a guy a tree, so you can really do whatever you want.
That's true.
That's true.
But like the reason why that doesn't work is because the Chargers' original logo was literally a horse.
All right, fair enough. I just thought I'd bring up the point and see what direction that went in.
It's a fair point, but it's nullified.
I'm going to go with Falcons because falconry is an awesome sport.
Falconry.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with maybe like the Panthers or something.
Ooh.
Or maybe like the Bengals, the Lions.
No, the Giants. How are you going to beat a giant?
Oh yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah.
That's probably
people are saying Titans in the comments too. I mean, that's also a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
The Jets because it's a fighter jet.
You
Hello. Tell me a bunch of F-16s wouldn't win anything.
Or is it a commercial jet?
No, it's a fighter jet. And they just got firemen out front going like, yay.
Okay.
I'm just picturing like the Buccaneers, like it's just a massive coliseum, and all of a sudden you just see the big just like ship rolling and the cannons just start going off. I think that'd be awesome. And then all of a sudden they just release like the Seahawks, and the Seahawks
they team up,
crap on everyone. Where to go? This is a fun one, guys. Eli Larson. Besides the Duke's Mayo Bowl, what is your favorite bowl game name? Josh, take this one away.
Dude, obviously it's the Cheribundi Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl. I mean, it's just not close. It's just not close.
The Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl.
That's a good one too.
Oh, you took mine.
Yeah.
The Boca Raton Bowl is hard to beat. I can't lie. I mean, I knew Josh was going to say it, but he took mine.
What about the Arizona Bowl? That just is so underwhelming.
It's just boring. And it's like, you think of Arizona, you think like if a random citizen thinks of Arizona, they think Phoenix, they think Scottsdale, they think that general area. Well, you're not playing there. You're playing in Tucson. Like, no thanks.
Yeah, I can remember watching one Arizona Bowl in recent memory, and it was part of the New Mexico State game because they won, and it was like their first bowl game win in like forever. And I remember watching it like, yeah, you get them, New Mexico State, but also it's the Arizona Bowl, so congrats.
What the Frosted Flakes Bowl? That's a good one too.
The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl?
Yeah, that one. They renamed it after Tony the Tiger. It was Frosted Flakes, right?
I think.
Whatever. It was just named the Tony the Tiger Bowl. I don't think there was any Frosted Flakes like affiliation in it, which was kind of weird. Going back though, first off, I'm going through some of these because I just like I don't scroll. I just stop and I go one by one. I never answered, I think, the question from a few ago about the whole Penn State West Virginia game. I would choose the Penn State whiteout just because that seems like that would be incredible. That's definitely up there. If I'm going to a Penn State game, I'm only going to do a Penn State whiteout. I was trying to think. I was going to go with the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl, but then BK took it. I'm trying to think. I mean, the Cheez-It Bowl is just so stupid, but it's so great that it's
just a new bowl game now. New bowl game.
Yeah. So I'm
the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, which is played at San Diego County Credit Union Stadium.
Presented by San Diego County Credit
Union. Yeah. There you go. That's the one.
Here's a fun, interesting one to get into, guys. Benjamin Ivy, what is the worst injury you've ever had? I think mine is probably going to top all of your guys's, but I'll let you guys go first to share the worst injury you guys have ever had.
I have a concave chest. I mean, I guess that's not an injury, but I mean,
but Josh is as the voice of reason. What does that mean? Can you show us?
How did you get the concave in your
I
chest?
was born with a slight indent right about here. That's like more on the left side. So like, if you can tell, like it's just slightly indented. There was a kid that I actually went to high school with that I did not know, but him and his mom would go to my mom's dental office. I worked in a dental office, and they'd go in and they were patients for the doctor there. And he had one that was like the size, like you could fit a small basketball in his chest, like huge compared to mine. So,
and how'd you get it? You said your mom, she was
when my mom was pregnant, she got hit in the stomach with a football. And that's how I got it. Yeah, that didn't happen. I've told people that before. There was also in 8th grade, worst thing I've ever done, by the way. Some 6th grade girl walked by, and she had like one of those elementary school crushes where it was like, oh, let's be mean to him so he won't know that I like him. This was, I'm not guessing. Like, I know this is what
ping pong wizard Josh Schaefer.
Yeah, you know. So she walked past me in the hallway, and like we were friends, but she would always be mean to me, and I was like, whatever. And she like kind of like pushed me in the chest, right? And I had it planned, and I like dropped to the ground like, ah! And she's like, oh my God. And I like lifted up my shirt, and everyone's like, what did you do? And she ran away, and she got really sad. And then I had to apologize because that was pretty mean of me. True story, that actually happened.
That's awesome.
You know, it's funny. I have never had like an actual injury. I've never broken a bone. Like I've never pulled anything. It's funny. I mean, look, I know I have that.
You have to have an injury when you're on the bench all game.
I was gonna say,
I'm kidding.
I was gonna say, I won that state title and have that ring for baseball in high school, but you don't have that many chances to get injured when you have like 15 at bats in a season or whatever it is. So yeah, not a whole lot of chances for injury, but yeah, even growing up, like I've been, I guess, pretty fortunate that I've never had any serious broken bones or pulled muscles or really anything like that.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat as Lyle. I had knee surgery my junior year of high school, and that was just to, clean up. I had some pieces that were grown weird in my knee, just, clean that up a little bit. Not much, I got in a bike accident once. I used to race bikes actually, and got in a crash doing that and messed up my hand.
Lyle's playing ping pong. Brady's racing bikes competitively.
I did. Yeah.
I'm getting tacos for Matt Colomes in the 7th inning. Listen to us.
And another one would be I got run over by N'Keal Harry and Eno Benjamin.
Oh, that is the classic.
I had a small scratch above my eyebrow, and that was about it. But what hurt most was when they stepped on and broke my camera. So that was probably my biggest injury that I've had.
I just remember you coming up to the student section to say what's up at halftime, and I'm like, what on earth happened to your head? And you're like,
it's just a fat black eye.
It's like, that N'Keal touchdown? Oh yeah, he ran over me. It's like somebody got a video. You want to see it? And it's N'Keal like doing the airplane. It's like, let's go, boys. I just scored my first touchdown of the year. Then he runs over cameraman Brady Clane, and our old professor, who we all love, standing right next to him, is just dying laughing as Brady gets run over by first-round pick N'Keal Harry.
And then 7th round pick Brandon Eno Benjamin.
It really is a fantastic photo, though, too.
I'm getting it pulled up right now.
Before we get to mine, going back, some people commented saying the defunct GoDaddy.com bowl from our last question. I forgot about the GoDaddy. I know GoDaddy's still around. The Mayo Bowl, the Hawaii Bowl, the Music City Bowl, the TaxSlayer.com bowl. Some interesting bowl names. Back when I think there used to be a toilet bowl like a few years back. I can't remember. Maybe that's like an old-fashioned one. But Brady, you can quickly show the photo before I get into my graphic.
I'm trying to get it lined up.
While Brady's getting it up, people used to call the Apple Cup the toilet bowl for what that's worth.
True. All right, guys. So my worst sports injury goes back to when I was 10 years old playing in Little League. I was 10 years old on the 11-12 team. They had 11 and 12-year-olds, but I was so good at the age of 10, I actually cracked the 11-12 team. So for those of you that follow baseball, there's a few jobs you have. There's the kid that hits, there's the kid that's on deck, and then there's the kid that's in the hole. It's the job of the kid that's in the hole to get the bat of the kid that just hit. So the kid, he got a base hit, so it was my job to go get the bat. So I go out, the kid gets a base hit, I go and get the bat. Well, the kid that was going up, I guess he just decided, let me not even look anywhere. He takes a full-on practice swing, with his metal bat, a full-on swing as hard as he can. I go running by, the bat directly hits my elbow, shatters the elbow. I go down. My elbow is completely broken. And the highlight of that entire thing was me going back to the dugout, crying like crazy, crying like I've never cried before. I can't even move my arm at all because the pain is so bad as my entire elbow is shattered. My coach comes up and he says, Blake, we have a runner on second. Do you think you could bunt him over to third? And I said, Coach, I don't think I could do that. And then proceeded to go to the hospital. And
is this when you won the most inspirational player award?
No, that was 2 years later. And my season was lost due to injury.
And Blake said, never bunt, and went to the hospital.
I found my photo. Here we go.
All right, let's see it.
There's that classic.
Brady is on the bottom.
See that guy upside down whose feet are in the air, and that's my nice butt right there? That's me.
I like it. So that's a great photo. Guys,
got another angle from it too.
We have time for a few more questions. This one comes from Snips. How long do you think it'll take Mac Brown to get the Tar Heels to be competitive in the ACC? They just went. They got a 5-star today. They got a 5-star cornerback.
5-star DB.
Brown's doing a great job recruiting there.
They have the number 5 recruiting class up for next season.
Yeah, they're going to be competitive this year, but they're not going to be great. I think they'll be similar to how they were last year. I think next year they could be a good team too. I think. I don't know, because it's tough to say. They're going to be very similar to, I think, how Virginia was these past few years, especially this past year, where Virginia, they were a good team, but they weren't a great team. You know what I mean? I think next year, North Carolina probably has the potential to be a really great team. I don't think they're going to be better than Clemson, but I mean, Sam Howell's legit. I mean, I think everybody knows that at this point. Dude's legit. And he's a big dude too. I think he can. I think he's going to be a pretty good leader for them moving forward. And I think next year's the year for them.
Yeah, that's a fair kind of area of success in terms of what Josh said. I mean, comparing him to Virginia, which means you're probably about that 19 to 25 range at best in terms of the top 25, which is good. I mean, being 19 to 25 in the country, that's a very, very good team. They just probably won't be 11-1 to answer that question. But yeah, with Sam Howell and with everybody's favorite receiver, of course, Daz Newsome coming back, I mean, there's basically the bulk of your offense. And like you said, Mac Brown's done a great job getting playmakers to that school. And North Carolina, they're very clearly on the up and up. So I think a couple years down the road, they could take that program to the next level.
College football Hall of Famer Mac Brown, you mean to say. Give the man some respect. He was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame the day before it was announced he was going to be re-signing and going back to North Carolina. I think they have a great squad, like Lyle and Josh said. Sam Howell, the addition of the 5-star DB they have can make an immediate impact on the defense. We've seen what a guy like a Grant Delpit can do in a secondary at such a young age that we saw for LSU. So who knows if he can, give the same production of that level, but obviously the number 5 recruiting class in the country moving forward this year, they definitely have the pieces in place. I don't know if it'll be this year. You give Sam Howell another year to grow. Definitely in 2 years, though, they're going to be a top 10, I think, team in the country.
Yeah, I think North Carolina's they're on the right path. I mean, who would have thought with Mac Brown? We kind of laughed at it last year when he was coming back. They're like, wow, why are they bringing Mac Brown back? He's been doing a fantastic job. So I think they can compete in the ACC this year, but definitely for years to come, they're going to be doing well. Guys, I'm reading through some of these on how Blake potentially gets injured. We got Blake's injury is cutting himself while shaving his beard. Blake's worst injury is his golf swing blowing out his back. We got one, Mary Jo Maldonado saying, Blake has nothing to offer. He still cries like a baby. I'll take the ping pong player. So, hey, Lyle, there you go. We got a girl in the chat that wants nothing to do with me, apparently, which is a shame.
Can't blame her there.
There you go. So there were some funny ones here, but there's so many comments that are coming. I'm trying to think if we can get one or two more. There was one, I can't remember who asked this, so I'm sorry, but someone asked, what is the worst college football game you've ever been to? We'll make this our final question of the day. What is the worst college football game you've ever been to?
I don't know. There've been some very like meh ASU games, but even some of the games that were really low scoring, I thought were still exciting. I was at the 2013 USC Washington State game. I think the final score was 10-7 or something like that. They kicked a field goal and Wazoo's only touchdown was a pick six. It was just a horrific game. Like some of the USC home games that I've been to against the two Washington schools, like since I was a kid, have been just awful football games. Like I remember a year they lost to Jake Locker in a terrible game, and then they lost in 2013 to Washington State. And like I don't even remember who the quarterback was because I don't think it was Holiday, and I don't think it was Luke Falk. I legitimately could not name another player on that Washington State team, and SC lost to them. And that was the year that they lost to ASU badly, lost to Wazoo, fired Kiffin, and then hired Coach O. And then they won like 9 straight games or whatever it was. So the Washington versus USC games, the Washington schools have been all bad in my experiences.
I think whoever asked this question is probably just like baiting me to say it. But 2013 national championship game in Miami was the worst. 42-14, and it was never close either. But if I have to pick one aside from that, if you want like an ASU game, when they played USC sophomore year, I mean, that was a bad game. I mean, not for SC fans because they killed them, but like that game was over so quick that ASU had no chance.
I'm trying to find the year that this was. It was 2008. I was at the Ohio State Youngstown State football game.
Oh
God.
When at the time he had so much potential, future Arizona Cardinal running back Chris Beanie Wells tore his Achilles. I remember he got a handoff right up the middle and just lost his footing and fell to the ground. So that I remember that clear as day. Ohio State Youngstown State season opener, 2008.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think there was one game, maybe our freshman or sophomore year. I think it was one of like the early season games when they were playing like maybe like Northern Arizona, just one of these awful teams. And it's like 105 degrees at kickoff at 7 p.m. And I just remember standing there going, this is brutal. This is miserable. I want this to be over with. I think like a year or two ago, it was like a Thursday night game. ASU played Stanford and ASU was down by like 3 touchdowns. And I think we all decided to go to Canes. And then ASU actually ended up coming back and they were down by a touchdown with the ball in like the final drive and they ended up losing. So we luckily didn't miss like an overtime game.
Yeah, they ran out of time.
Yeah. So, I mean, that game we ended up leaving. But I think those first few, again, I think it was maybe like Northern Arizona where it was a 7 p.m. game. It was 100 degrees and we were absolutely miserable in the stands. So luckily I haven't been to any really just awful games where I've hated it. So those are mine.
Let me read this to you real quick. That SC Wazoo game, both teams at the end of the day, I think this was like the 3rd game of the year, whatever. SC was ranked in front of a crowd of 80,000 people at the Coliseum for a night game. The final score was 10-7 Washington State. Connor Halliday was the starting quarterback, did not throw for a touchdown, threw for 2 picks. Wazoo's leading rusher ran the ball 11 times for 24 yards. Cody Kessler was 8 for 13 for 41 yards for USC. SC scored on like the first drive of the second quarter. They were 27 seconds away from heading into the half 7-0. But then on 3rd down, they decided to throw the ball on like a screen pass and it got picked off and taken 70 yards to the house. And then nobody scored again until 3 minutes left in the game. And Wazoo hit a 41-yard field goal. And that was it. Brutal. Horrific game.
The game I was at was August 30th, 2008. Ohio State won 43-0.
Hey, someone in the comments said they were at the 78-0 Michigan Rutgers game. So I think if you're a Rutgers fan, that's gonna be. And even if you're a Michigan fan, after 14-0, that game probably had to be miserable. But that does wrap up this week's edition of the Harris Highlight Show. Thanks to everyone that tuned in live in the comments. We still got a bunch of people watching. So shout out to all you guys for joining. Make sure to go to Twitter at the HH Show _. Give us a follow. Make sure to follow. Make sure that we hit 1,000 followers by next week. Again, if we do, maybe there's going to be a special prize that you guys can potentially win. We'll have to wait and see. That way you guys can go and vote for who you think has the best Big Ten proposal. If you guys missed it, we gave our Big Ten proposals and we tweeted them out so you guys can go vote. We'll announce the winner next week. Next week's show is going to be the SEC realignment. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So for you SEC fans, some craziness is about to go down next week in the SEC. So you definitely don't want to miss that. If you missed the show, if you want to go back and listen to any parts, you can watch here on YouTube, or you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts. The links are in the description of this video, or you can just go over there, search for the Harris Highlight Show. Listen over there. It's a good time, guaranteed. Guys, any parting words before we take off for the week?
Really quickly, while we're at this point right now, the poll has been up for an hour. 1 hour exactly. Josh has 56% of the votes of the 94
So it's going
votes.
down. So it's going down. He was like a near 70. So it's going down.
I have 19. Blake has 18, and Lyle at 7.
You're right, Blake. It is going down because when I went and checked when we first started it, there were like 9 votes, and I had all 9 of them. So yes, it is going down from 100%.
So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Yes, I know that my fan has been lagging all show. I've been seeing all those comments. It's just because there's a slight delay here on Zoom. But for Josh Schaefer, Lyle Goldstein, Brady Klein, this has been Blake Harris from my bedroom in beautiful Monrovia, California. Follow us on Twitter. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're going to be back next week for the SEC Realignment Show. You definitely don't want to miss it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And the 4 of us will see you all right back here next week.
All right.